It was like almost one of the craziest days of my life, but I had some crazy days, so it wasn't really that bad. It just really sucked. Like this whole day just really sucked, and this whole day just sucked. And I know for a lot of people this day probably was 10 times worse than it was for me. So that's why I really wasn't like dwelling on it too much, because a lot of people was going through a lot of stuff at the time, and I just didn't want to make it all about me and just, you know, just be like complaining about my little situations when people really actually had big situations going on that day. Okay, so basically I'm gonna tell y'all about the time that me and Kaiser, we got into an accident. This was Kaiser's first car accident. And yeah, okay, so I'm gonna start from the beginning. So me and Splain, we just decided that we was gonna go to Atlanta, and I didn't really post any pictures of going to Atlanta just because it was so last minute and my hair wasn't done. So we decided that we was gonna go to Atlanta. We was like, okay, we're gonna go to Atlanta. It's gonna be spontaneous. It's nothing, because I always meet my mama in Lake Charles with my baby, just because it's like she drives 2 hours, I drive 2 hours. It's right in the middle. Baton Rouge is 4 hours away from Houston, so it's like it's real easy to just drive those 2 hours, drive 2 hours back, and then I mean we both driving 4 hours, and you know we can do the nice little swap. So it's usually nothing. So we decided that we was gonna go to Atlanta Friday, and then I met my mom Thursday. I met my mom Thursday. Well, we decided we was gonna go to Atlanta Wednesday night. So we booked our tickets Thursday morning, and then I said, okay, well, I'm gonna meet my mama today. Little did I know, I was not paying attention, and this is probably my fault and my mom's fault. I knew there had just been a hurricane, but I had heard that the hurricane was coming to us. Like, I thought the hurricane was coming to Houston, so a lot of people was like, you know, stay home. Kaiser daycare was saying like, daycare is gonna be canceled for this day because the hurricane's coming and all this stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, I wake up and it's sunny outside, so I'm like, okay, the hurricane must ain't hit dead hard how I said it was supposed to hit. I was never paying attention. I don't watch the news. It was barely on my timeline, my social media, on how bad Lake Charles was. So it was like that. I never knew how bad it was. So what happened, y'all? So I wake up, I tell my mama, you gonna meet me? I asked her, can she meet me? She was like, yeah, she had been asking for Kaiser the whole day, this, that, and the third. So I'm like, okay, can you meet me? Cool. She like, yeah. I'm like, okay, let's leave out at 4. If I leave out at 4, I still hadn't packed my clothes or nothing, y'all. I'm just lollygagging around. I'm like, if I leave out at 4, that means I could come right back home. I'll be getting home at like 8, 9:30. I'll be fine to pack my clothes, meet the lady before Kobe to get a haircut. And my mama was bringing Kobe and I was bringing Kaiser, so we was just gonna swap. She was gonna get Kaiser, I was gonna get Kobe. So, y'all, I bought my tickets and everything. My plane ticket, I'm like, okay, I'm ready. So I leave out at like 4:45 to meet my mama. I was a little late, but she was just gonna end up driving further than what I was driving. So I'm driving for like 2.5 hours, and it tells me like my map, like y'all, if you know me, I don't know no directions. I don't know where to go. I always use my map for everything. I use my map for Baton Rouge. I use my map for, well, a little bit for Baton Rouge. I use my map all the time, everywhere I go. Like literally everywhere I go in Texas, like everywhere. So I'm like, okay, well, my map's telling me to get off the interstate. I usually don't get off the interstate. I usually just keep straight and go all the way down the whole time. So it's telling me to get off the interstate, so I'm like, okay, cool. It's telling me to get the interstate. I'm gonna get off the interstate. No. This was like an hour and 30 minutes. This was like, okay, I missed the part. When I left, I was on a half a tank, so I didn't get any gas because I was just like, I was thinking like, me and my mom usually meet at this gas station, and it usually, the half tank will take me halfway there. I mean, it'll take me, you know, to Lake Charles. So I'm like, if I use this half a tank, by the time I meet my mama, I could just fill up there and then come back. So I just didn't feel like pumping gas at that time. So then, y'all, I'm on my way to Lake Charles. I'm almost there, and it tells me to get off the interstate. From there, I'm like, I get off the interstate, and then I just start driving. Like, I lost track of time. I have been driving through these little streets. I'm like, seeing stuff like, dang, they have trees and everything is all in the road. It looks like a hurricane just went through it. Like, it just came out of nowhere. Like, at first it was a tree or two, then it started becoming a car or a tree or a freaking whole gas station or houses. Just everything was just ran through, y'all. Just so ran through. So I'm like, dang, like, what's going on? And then I remember, like, dang, there was a hurricane here. So I was on the phone with my mom. My mom was like, Nique, I just turned around because I couldn't find no gas stations. So I'm like, why you can't find no gas station? Why you turned around? Like, I'm not really listening. I'm like, what you turned around for? I'm almost there. So y'all, I look at my gas light. My gas light is almost out of gas. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna stop and get gas. At this time, I'm already in the area where the hurricane hit, y'all. All the gas stations is closed. There's nobody selling gas in the area that I'm at, and I'm on E. So I waited till I got on E. No, I lied. I kind of waited till I got on E, but I thought I could make it. I thought I was gonna actually find a gas station because I was passing so many gas stations. I'm like, I'm gonna stop, you know, when it's time. Like, when I'm gonna get a little bit closer to my mama, and then I'm gonna stop. More of the story, my mama ended up running out of gas first. She ran out of gas. She called me. She's like, Nique, I'm on that side of the road. Y'all, I'm like in the country, so my phone connection, my services is going in and out. In and out, in and out, in and out. Y'all, like, this was the craziest thing ever. So my mama ran out of gas. So she on the side of the road, she like, Nique, pull over, don't run out of gas, because I ran out of gas. They ain't got no gas stations here. I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't really listening. I was like, well, I'm gonna try to see how far I can make it, because no gas stations where I'm at. Like, none of the gas stations is working. So I just kept driving. She pulled over, she called the tow truck, and the tow truck ended up taking her. After like 30 minutes, she was sitting on the side of the road for like 30 minutes. They ended up picking her up, taking her to the gas station to get gas for her car. She ended up putting gas in her car, and mind you, they had no gas stations in the area. So the tow truck had to end up driving further away from me in order for them to get gas. So I look at my gas tank, I'm like, dang, I'm on E. So they're at the gas station. So I'm like, you know, I'm stuck. Like, okay, so I just can't even put it into words, y'all, because everything's happening so crazy. It's so confusing. My mama broke down on the side of the road because she did the same thing I did. She didn't get gas in advance. So we was both thinking we gonna get gas when we meet each other. So she broke down in the middle of the road, or on the side of the road. The tow truck came and got her, took her back further away from me, the opposite direction of me, so that they can get gas from another gas station on that side. So while I'm in the process of doing that, like, my phone is going in and out, so I'm barely communicating with my mama. I'm like, okay, as long as I follow my GPS, I'm gonna get as close as possible to them, and I should be fine. Like, by the time I finish driving, they should be getting gas and they should be able to come towards me. So I'm telling them, I ain't got no gas, I ain't got no gas. Y'all, I ended up breaking down too. So I ended up running out of gas. I had to pull over to a gas station, and it just had so many, like, it was just a lot of men there. And me being a woman, I was just kind of like scared, because for one, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm in this G-Wagon. I'm with my baby, and I have no gas. My phone don't have no service. So I'm like super scared. Like, I have to go certain places. Like, I never got out the car, but I had to like reach certain places in order to call my mama and stuff like that. So I'm just sitting in the car, like, no gas. I'm just broke down, y'all. Like, just broke down on the side of the road in the middle of nowhere. I honestly don't know where I was at. But the men who were at the gas station, their lights were out, but they were sitting outside the gas station, like, with the doors open, like, selling stuff, but they were saying cash only. So they was selling all of the stuff when the people was passing by, and they was asking me, they was like, so I pulled over and I'm like, y'all, do y'all know where the gas station at? And they was like, no, sweetie, they ain't got no gas station. It's gonna be it's gonna be a ride before you get to another gas station that's actually working. All the gas stations in the city is down. So I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, dang. So I'm just stuck, y'all. But they was being really helpful. Like, they ended up trying to call the police. A sheriff came to the gas station. He said that he couldn't do nothing. Like, the police officer didn't even get out, try to talk to me, try to see what's going on, try to see if my baby was okay, nothing. The police officer didn't do nothing. He just said, I can't do nothing for her. I don't got no gas myself. So I'm like, dang, like, That's all he said. He told the people. So the people at the gas station was the dudes at the gas station was really working hard on getting me gas, or they was like really helpful. Like, I thank God for them, because I probably would have still been at that gas station for way longer than what I was if they didn't help me. So they was like being real helpful. They offered milk for Kaiser. My Kaiser don't really drink milk like that, but they offered milk for Kaiser. They thought he was like a small baby. They offered milk for Kaiser. They gave us Gatorade. They asked if we want some snacks, some cookies. I was like, no, thank you. But we did take the Gatorade, so they gave us Gatorade. It was so hot. It was just a lot going on. So after sitting there for a while, I'm like, forget it. I'm gonna just try to wait till my mama get some gas and hopefully she can bring me some gas. But my mama was like literally an hour and 30 minutes away from me, y'all. Because mind you, she had to drive back. The tow truck had to drive the opposite direction of me in order to get them gas. So, and then she was gonna have to find a jug and then get me gas. It was just gonna be so much. So the man, they was just asking around the gas station, because it was like, it was just some people there. It was like just a whole bunch of men. Like I was barely seeing women. It was like I was the only woman. It just had so many men. So then he started acting, the dudes was acting around the gas station. I guess they were saying, you know, there's a lady here, she got a baby. We just trying to make sure the baby's straight. This, that, and the third. And I guess they was asking, did they have spare gas? So somebody asked if they have spare gas, and some men ended up having some spare gas. And y'all, they literally gave me their gas. Like, gave me their gas in their thing. It probably was their last gas, and it put me to a quarter, like a little, like not a half a tank, but the half a tank. So he was like, this should get you to a gas station, you know, here he is. And I'm like, thank you so much. Like, I was so thankful, because them people ain't have to give me no gas. Like, they got this whole thing going on with their whole city or they whole community. They didn't have to give me no gas, you feel what I'm saying? But they was just showing love. They gave me some gas. I'm like, thank y'all, like for real, thank y'all, this, that, the third. I wish I knew their names so I could cash out them now, because if it wasn't for them, I would have not got out as soon as I did. They found me gas. They did more than the police officer could ever do. I was clicking the thing in my car, and they was not helping with nothing. It's like nobody could help but the people at the gas station. So we ended up leaving the gas station, y'all, and I'm following my GPS. My GPS is not putting me on the interstate. Like, it's literally, at this point, it's like 8 o'clock, like 8:30. It's literally, and it's supposed to be a 2-hour drive, y'all. Y'all, this was supposed to be a 2-hour drive. This drive ended up being like at least an 8-hour trip. So at like fucking, what am I saying? At like this, it's like 8:30, y'all. So I leave the gas station like 8:30. I'm driving. I'm like, thank you, you know, just standing there. I'm like, they told me the directions to get on the interstate. They said if you go down this road, keep straight about 10 miles, make a left or a right, one of them, you go see the interstate, get on the interstate. So I'm like, okay. Trying to remember in my head, y'all, like the city was like, this little country spot was so scary. I was like scared. I got my baby with me. I'm just scared. Even in the car, I'm scared. I'm like, I ain't got that much gas. The roads is so dark, y'all. Like, the roads is so dark. They got trees everywhere. They got power lines in the road. Like, it's just a whole bunch of stuff in the road. The whole place just looked abandoned. They had nobody really on the roads. Mind you, I never knew there was a 7 o'clock curfew, because I guess I don't watch the news. I don't know. But it looked abandoned. They barely had people on the road. So it's just me and my baby on the road, these dark roads. Mind you, all the power is out in this whole community, this whole place. The power is out. So all I can see is like woods, one dark road, and freaking trees and stuff in the street that I have to like roll over. And they had power lines that was almost touching my car. So I'm like, let me carry up and get from under these power lines before they fall on my car. So it was just a whole bunch of stress, y'all. So I'm driving, and I must have turned and not paid attention to their directions, y'all. So I turned and I followed my GPS, y'all. I'm trying to call my mama because it's so scary. I got no connection. I'm trying to call Splay. I'm trying to call Janae. I'm trying to call somebody. It was no connection nowhere. So I'm just riding down this road, y'all, and then I finally make it to like where my GPS took me, but I was GPSing to a location that they were no longer at or something like that. More of the story, I have been driving, y'all, and now at this point it's 11 o'clock. I'm still driving, and now I'm freaking out. I'm out of gas again. Like, I'm out of gas again. Cause they hadn't gave me a little bit of gas, but I was out again. Like, I must have been driving, I don't know. I must have been driving, I don't know. Like, if I swear to God, if I was on the interstate, I probably wouldn't have been as scared. But since I was off the interstate and I was kind of going through like the country fields and dark roads and trees and power lines, I was just scared. So I just ended up finding this little place like that was kind of like a bit more up. Like, they had a lot of lights and stuff, and like people, I guess, that were stuck there as well. So I pulled over and I ended up getting service where I pulled over. So I'm like, okay, well, I have service here, I'm gonna stay here because I don't want me to not have service and not have gas. So I was riding around to see how I could get service. So I ended up finding service at this place. It was like a McDonald's donut or something like that. I pulled over, I called Kobe. I'm like, Kobe, I'm sending you my location. I sent him my location, y'all. So, and good to know that they was like 9 minutes away from where I was at. So I had stopped, I pulled over, I sent him a location. He was like, stay there, Nique, don't go nowhere, because they had been looking for me. So they was like, Nique, stay there, don't go nowhere, we on the way. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stay here. They was like, we 9 minutes away, we close, just stay there. I stayed at the McDonald's donuts place, y'all. My mama found me. Child, was so scared, but I was out of gas. I'm like, did y'all bring some gas? Did y'all bring some gas? They was like, no, but we gonna go. If you follow me, it's not far from the gas station. Like, it's not far. So I'm like, okay. Yeah. So the maps was just acting crazy that day. Like, the maps was taking us every which way. I feel like the maps wasn't working right. They wasn't working right. Okay, the maps. So I'm following my mama on this dark road. Mind you, she had been riding on the interstate for most of the time, so she didn't see what I seen. She wasn't driving as slow as I was driving. So, you know, they got buku power lines and stuff like that in the street, but she had never seen it, so it was spooking her out. Like, oh my God, this is what the streets look like. Mind you, I had been spooked out because I had been driving on these streets for a while. So, and we ended up looking at the freaking, anyways, she ended up finding me. I was following her. We ended up not missing our exit on the interstate or something like that. We ended up not getting back on the interstate where she came from. And y'all, we was riding down this dark road. This is me following my mama. We was riding down this dark road, and freaking, she ended up, we was driving. I was riding behind her. She ended up slamming on brakes because our power line was in the street. I'm trying to put it like, I'm trying to tell the story as best as possible. I was just so stressed out and aggravated that night. It was like everything was going wrong. Like, both of us had ran out of gas, and I got lost. I was stressed out. Kaiser hadn't ate because I thought, okay, you know, it's gonna be 2 hours. You know, I'm feed him something when we get that way. He had ate like earlier that day, like when I first picked him up. He hadn't ate. At this point, it's 11 o'clock. He still haven't ate. So, and we left at 4:30, 4:45. He didn't eat no dinner, no snack, no nothing. So he ate snacks. He ate like a granola bar. But anyways, Kaiser had ate dinner. It's 11 o'clock. I'm following